Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. So today we are going to discuss on the specialized animal cells. Okay. So animal tissues, they are divided into epithelial tissues. Okay. Nervous tissues, muscle tissues, and connective tissues. So for today's video, we are going to discuss on the epithelial tissues only. Okay. So epithelial tissues, right? These are occurring, right, as sheets of cells. Okay, epithelial tissues occurring as sheets of cells. Occurring sini maksudnya ialah epithelial tissues ini di dalam bentuk sheets of cells. Okay, so these epithelial tissues cover the outside of the body and line organs and cavities within the body. Maksudnya epithelial tissues ni dia menyeliputi organs, okay, dan ruang kosong di dalam badan. Epithelial cells are closely packed, often with tight junctions. Now, epithelial cells and epithelial tissues, the difference here is, all right, organization of these epithelial cells will form the epithelial tissues, right? This in case some of you forgot about it. Now, epithelial tissues function as a barrier against mechanical injury, okay, pathogens and fluid loss. Now, epithelial tissues, right? They are tissues that consist of covering epithelia and glandular epithelia. So today we are going to further discuss about this covering epithelia and glandular epithelia, since these two types of epithelia made up the epithelial tissues, right, as a whole. Okay, so covering epithelia. Okay, so covering epithelia are layers of cells that line the external and internal surfaces of organs. Okay, now structural features. Okay, these covering epithelia are layers of cells that are arranged in a single layer or more than a layer. If these layers of cells are arranged in a single layer, all right, so these layers of cells are known as simple epithelium. Okay, if they are arranged in more than one layer, so these covering epithelia are known as stratified epithelium. Okay, so covering epithelia further divided kepada simple epithelium and stratified epithelium. Okay, covering epithelia lack of capillaries because the cell layers are too thin. Now, replacement of dead or worn out cells are via mitosis. Okay, and then at the bottom, right, at the bottom of this covering epithelia, okay, these covering epithelia cells, they are attached to the basement membrane, okay, to facilitate attachment to other tissues. You can see in these two diagrams here, this is the basement membrane, right, and this is the covering epithelia. Now for this example here, this covering epithelia, all right, consists of simple columnar epithelium. Right, simple columnar epithelium. Okay, simple because it is these cells, right, is only one being arranged in one layer. All right, these cells are arranged in one layer only. Okay, so this is the basement membrane where these cells are being attached to. You can see this micrograph, right, this micrograph here, where this show you the structure of the basement membrane, right? So again, the replacement of this cell, right, apparently is via mitosis. Okay, replacement of dead or worn out of these cells is being done via mitosis. Now you're wondering, you might be wondering, what is basement membrane? So basement membrane is a thin, okay, fibrous extracellular matrix of tissue that separates the epithelium, mesothelium, and endothelium from underlying connective tissues, right? This epithelium, mesothelium, endothelium, you will learn in detail in the second semester. Okay. So when it comes to epithelium, examples of epithelium are the skin, right, respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract, right, while mesothelium is like your pleural cavity, peritoneal cavity, pericardial cavity, okay, while your endothelium would be like your blood vessels, your lymph vessels, for example. Now, at the top or the surface of the skin, right? Sorry, not skin, surface of the cells, this covering epithelia, right? The top or the surface of this covering epithelia, these covering epithelial cells are exposed to air, which is like your skin, for example, okay, or liquid like in the stomach. Okay. Now, functions of covering epithelia. Okay, it helps to protect your tissues or organ below them. Right, help to absorb substances and allow substances to cross them. Them refer to the covering epithelia. Now, some covering epithelia are modified to form the receptors to detect stimuli or stimulus. Okay, now, classifications of these covering epithelia, okay, is based on the cell's arrangement and cell types. Okay, now when it comes to arrangement of cells, if the cells or the covering epithelial cells, they are arranged in one layer, right? So this covering epithelia, they are known as either simple squamous epithelium or simple cuboidal epithelium or simple columnar epithelium, like what I've mentioned earlier. Okay, if these cells of this covering epithelia are arranged in layers, right? In layers mean it's more than one layer. So those covering epithelias, okay, they are known as either stratified squamous epithelium or stratified cuboidal epithelium or stratified columnar epithelium. Okay, now if the cells of this covering epithelia, they are seem to be arranged in layers, but actually each cell is attached to the basement membrane. So meaning to say, to cut things short here, the cells, those cells, they are actually only arranged in one layer, but they appear to be arranged in multiple layers. So this kind of covering epithelia, right, we refer them as pseudostratified epithelium. Okay. Now this micrograph here in this picture here, this shows you the stratified example of stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, you can see these squamous cells, they are being arranged in many layers. So this covering epithelium is known as stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, okay, you can see the many stratified squamous epithelium here. You know, another classification of this covering epithelia is based on the cell shapes, the shape of the cells of the covering epithelia, or the shapes of the covering epithelia cells, right? If the cells are flattened or like scales or tiles, right, those cells are known as squamous epithelium. You can see this squamous epithelium here, they are flattened. All right. Okay, now since this squamous epithelium, they are flattened in only one cell layer, so this covering epithelia here is known as the simple squamous epithelium. Right, macam ulangan saja kan daripada yang sebelum ni. Okay, now if the cells are roughly cube shaped, right, those cells are known as the cuboidal epithelium. bentuk cuboid kan, boleh nampak ni. If the cells look like pillars, height is longer than their best width. This is their best width. This is their height. Apparently the height is longer than the best width. So these cells are known as the columnar epithelium. Okay. Now you can see how a stratified squamous epithelium differ from a simple squamous epithelium. Right? Nampak kan beza dia? Ini berlapis-lapis. Okay. Now, these covering epithelia, they have this one type of cells, all right, where their cells can change shape when being stretched, right? So this special kind of cells, all right, they are known as the transitional epithelium. Okay, so we will discuss about this later on. Now, just now I mentioned about this apical surface, somewhere around here. Mana? Okay, I guess I didn't mention about apical surface. Oh yeah, in this diagram here, this is the apical surface and this is the basal surface. Now, how do these two surfaces different? Okay, untuk senang faham, apical surface ni ialah surface yang menghala ke arah lumen. Right, this is the basal surface, which is on top of the basement membrane. Okay, now apical surface, basal surface. So apparently all epithelia are polarized. So since they are being polarized, they have two different sides. Okay, this apical surface faces the lumen or cavity, okay, or outside of the organ, and is therefore exposed to the fluid or air. Right? If our skin, on our skin, the surface of your skin that exposed to the environment, those are known as the apical surface. All right, senang kan? Right? And then, for example, your small intestine, okay, the surface, okay, the underlying tissue in your small intestine that facing the lumen of your small intestine, those are the apical surface. Now, specialized projections often cover this surface. Okay, for example, the apical surface of the epithelium lining in the small intestine is covered with microvilli, okay, or microvilli. Projections that increase the surface area available for absorbing nutrients. Okay, the opposite side of each epithelium is the basal surface. So there's some of one apical surface and basal surface. Okay. Okay, now we continue with types of covering epithelia. Okay, so based on the basic cells, the squamous, cuboidal, columnar, and the pseudostratified. So when it comes to types of covering epithelia, we have the simple squamous epithelium, simple cuboidal epithelium, simple columnar epithelium, and pseudostratified epithelium. Okay, now first is the simple squamous epithelium. Okay, so you can see how the simple squamous epithelium look like. Okay, so the simple squamous epithelium have thin flat cells that are arranged in a single layer. Okay, and then they have a centrally located spherical nucleus. Boleh nampak kan? Okay, how centrally this spherical nucleus is being located in cell. And then the simple squamous epithelium cells have a basement membrane. Okay, and the simple squamous epithelium can be found in the outer layer of Bowman capsule, okay, endothelium of blood vessels, and alveolar walls. Okay, or you can say the lining of the lungs. Then your capillary walls, which is the endothelium of blood vessels. Okay, so function, this simple squamous epithelium, right, will form thin layer of cells that cross which diffusion can readily occur. Okay. Next, we have the simple cuboidal epithelium. You can see the simple cuboidal epithelium. So the cells are cuboidal, isn't it obvious? And arranged in a single layer. Why single layer? Because simple. Okay. And then the cells have large spherical and central nucleus, very much similar with the simple squamous cells. Then some of these cells, okay, the simple cuboidal epithelium, they are ciliated. And the simple cuboidal epithelium can be found in the collecting ducts and tubules of the nephron. Nephron is the basic unit of your kidney. Okay? And other places where the simple cuboidal epithelium can be found that function as covering epithelia, okay, they can be found in the lining of some glands and kidney tubules, as well as covering of ovaries. Okay, covering of ovaries. Next, we have simple columnar epithelium. Okay, you can see here. This is simple columnar epithelium. So the cells are columnar in shape. The nucleus is ovoid. Okay, and then located near to the basal end. Okay, near the basal end. This is the basal membrane. So the nucleus will be located near to the basal end. Some of these columnar cells are ciliated and some are goblet cells. Okay, this is a goblet cell. Sorry, this is the goblet cell in the columnar epithelial cell. Some columnar epithelial cell exists as it is on its own. Some of this columnar epithelial cell has goblet cell in it. So these goblet cells are glandular, simple columnar epithelial cells that function is to secrete gel-forming mucins, which are the major component of mucus. So meaning to say this goblet cell secretes mucin, okay, and this mucin is needed to synthesize mucus. Kalau mucus kan lendir, okay, and then the cell okay, sorry, banyak tersasul. This simple columnar epithelium can be found in the innermost layer of the lining of the intestines and stomach. That's why your innermost layer of your intestines and stomach, they are very they are covered with mucus. Those mucus came from the mucins, okay, which is secreted by the goblet cell. Okay. Next, we have the pseudostratified epithelium. Okay, pseudo means palsu. Okay, it appears as multiple layers as stratified, but actually it is single layer. That's why this fourth type of covering epithelia is known as the pseudostratified epithelium. Epithelium that looks like being stratified, but actually it is only one layer. So pseudostratified epithelium, they are single layer of cells arranged on basement membrane. Again, this is the basement membrane, and this is the single layer of cell that appears like being in stratified. This pseudostratified epithelium gives the appearance of being multiple layers, and the nuclei of cells are located at different levels. You can see some of these nuclei are located near the basal end, some are located on the above the basal end. This pseudostratified epithelium can be found in the innermost layers of the trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles. Okay, and some of this pseudostratified epithelium cell has goblet cell. So meaning to say, if this pseudostratified epithelium is found in the innermost layer of the trachea, this tells you that your trachea must be moist with mucus, because those mucus apparently has mucins that is being secreted by these goblet cells in the pseudostratified epithelium cell. Okay, so here you can see the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, this is the basement membrane or basal membrane, and these are the stratified squamous epithelium. You can see there are many layers of squamous epithelium here. And then this is the stratified cuboidal epithelium, because this cuboidal epithelium, they are arranged in two layers, right? Then we have this stratified columnar epithelium. You can see how this columnar epithelium cell are being arranged in two layers. Then we have this transitional epithelium. These are cells that can change shape when being stretched. Okay, and usually this transitional epithelium is found in the ureter, bladder, and part of the urethra. And this, if you read here, this transitional epithelium resembles both the stratified squamous and stratified cuboidal epithelial cells. Okay, so this is the squamous cells that this transitional epithelium resembles, and this is the cuboidal cells that it resembles. Okay, so you can see how these transitional epithelial cells, they are being stretched, and this is when these transitional epithelial cells are not being stretched or being relaxed. The next, glandular epithelia. All right, so this glandular epithelia, they are gland cells that derive from epithelia. Okay, so I mean to say the epithelial cells, like for example, the cuboidal epithelium. This cuboidal epithelium, it undergoes differentiation to become gland cells. Okay, and these gland cells can secrete liquid containing mucus, hormones, and enzymes. Glandular epithelia divided into exocrine gland and endocrine gland. Okay, now let's go to the first one, the exocrine gland. Exocrine gland possess ducts. Ini ialah ducts. Okay, possess ducts to secrete substances. Then exocrine gland has little capillaries in them. Okay, and then this exocrine gland formed by invagination of the epithelia. Invagination means this is the original, this is the condition of the initial epithelia. So it invaginates, it sort of like curve inwards like this. Okay, this is invaginates. So examples of exocrine gland, okay, are the tubular glands of the large intestine, as well as your sweat glands. Okay, now when it comes to this exocrine gland, okay, some of this exocrine gland has simple duct structure like this, very simple. Okay, some of this exocrine gland has compound duct structure like this. Compound, to make things simple, means highly branched. Nampak kan? Okay, for STPM candidates, this is not in your syllabus, just for you to know, alright, how an exocrine gland can exist as with simple duct structure, and how this exocrine gland can exist as compound duct structure. Okay, so this is another example how this exocrine gland, alright, secretes their content. Okay, or for example, one of the content is hormone, or another example is milk here. Okay, and then another example is enzyme like here. Okay, now the other gland is endocrine gland. Okay, so these are glands that lack of ducts or do not have ducts. The secretion of hormone, example is hormone, okay, is directly into the many blood capillaries that surround them, formed by detachment from epithelia. Examples of endocrine gland are the thyroid gland and adrenal gland. So this is the epithelia. So what happens? One portion of the epithelia, all right, it just breaks off. Okay, it just detach from the epithelia. So that particular epithelial cells that detach from the epithelia develop or differentiate into an endocrine gland, and this endocrine gland is being surrounded by many blood capillaries. Why? So that the content that this endocrine gland secretes, for example a hormone, it can easily absorb or diffuse into this blood capillary and travel into various organs in the body, right, via the blood capillaries. Okay, so these are the major endocrine glands can be found in our body. We have the pineal gland, we have this parathyroid gland, and then we have this thyroid gland, we have this thymus, okay, we have the pituitary gland here, and so on. So that's it for today's discussion. Okay, bye.